Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? I'm just gonna make sure everything is looking and sounding good here. Going to turn up my microphone so that's a little better. How is everybody doing? All right. Sorry, just gonna keep setting things up. All right, sweet. Okay, what's going on? Owen is here and Scott is here. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming in. All right. So, all right, looks like we're all set up. Glad to be back for another live stream. It's been a little over a week. My goal for live streams now is essentially going to be we have 1 week where it's a live stream, and the next week will be an actual episode for Umbara. Just that's kind of where I'm at for timing right now. So live streams every other week, and then if I'm able to get more time, hopefully I'll be able to do those maybe a little more frequently. But for now, that is the plan. All right, and we are looking pretty good. Okay, so for today, we've got all of our normal topics that we can normally talk about. Otherwise, I'm going to be working on a couple of things for the build. You can kind of see this giant empty space in the middle of the frame right there. I need to work on that and kind of get that all figured out and filled in and to the correct height that I need it to be at. And not much else has really changed. You can see up in the corner there I have some new plant pieces. I've been experimenting with some different plant pieces like vines. So in the next update video, you'll see some of the screenshots that I show you guys, and you'll be able to see what I'm kind of referencing here for some of these more tentacle-like things that kind of reach up into the sky that I was trying to figure out how exactly I was going to build. So I'm going to change one thing on my camera real quick. Okay. All right. And now there's no, so that's good. I'll get that reactivated here. Hold on. All right, there we go. Okay, so usually I don't get a lot of building done in the streams, but today I actually need to get some stuff done because I haven't been able to build a whole lot recently, so I will need to work on that. But how's everybody doing today? Carry me, what's up, dude? Greetings. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you. Hopefully everyone's been having a good week. Hopefully you're having a good Labor Day today here in the States, if you are here in the States. So I'm going to start to compile some pieces here and get started. The toughest part I'm realizing for this particular section up here is just the amount of pieces it's taking to get it to the correct height and get it up to the road. So that's another thing that I need to work on is the road itself. I haven't done a whole lot on the road yet, so in the next episode you should see some work on the main road itself as well as some of this other plant life that I'm kind of working on. So that is the goal. Sky, you doing good today? Good. All right, and then of course I do have the hat on today, so if anybody has any suggestions for minifigures, we can do that again once we get that going. Another thing that I need to kind of figure out how to do on this, so I'm using Streamlabs to live stream. One thing I want to try to figure out here on this is how to show your computer screen. So that's one thing I'm trying to figure out how to do, because a new thing came out that Yako sent me, Star Wars Fan Room, that I wanted to pull up on the screen, but I didn't really figure out how to do that. AV Figures has released here's what they call it, a ball jointed head, like minifigure head. So essentially what it seems like these things can do is, like, instead of a Lego head, there's a little ball joint. It's supposed to make it so you can tilt the heads back and forth on your minifigures. If you guys go to like AV Figures website, again, someday I'll figure out how to show my screen on my actual computer, but I thought that was interesting. So again, one of my friends, Yako Star Wars Fan Room, sent me that, and you guys know how I like to set up my minifigures, and I don't know how I feel exactly about this new thing, this ball jointed head, because I'm always like a lot of people like to use sticky tack and stuff for rubber bands for their figures, and I'm always like very stubborn on like, no, I'm just using, all Lego stuff, which I know is stupid. So I don't know how I feel about these kind of new things from AV Figures, but they do look really good. So I may just have to try to pick some up, and they're pretty cheap. At least for US dollars, it's like $1.30 or $1.50 or something like that, as I'm looking at the price right here. So I may have to try it out, but I'll probably just stick with what I normally do, because I'm kind of like a weird person like that, where I just like to, and I'm not like even a Lego purist, because I use a bunch of Brick Arms and Brick Mania stuff, but for some reason when it comes to setting up figures, I really like the challenge of just like not using sticky tack or like the rubber bands and stuff, but it makes it incredibly frustrating at conventions, because essentially when I have like the guys I have set up right now on the table, if I do that, one of the helmets just fell off over towards me. It's out of frame, but essentially at the convention what would happen is anytime someone would go in and out of the booth and bump the table, and then you'd have an issue of some of my figures falling off. So like the biggest worry at the convention is coming back the next morning and like praying that all the figures are still up, just because the way I set them up, it's so like fragile that like if anybody bumps the table, everything is coming down, and that was kind of like a little mini game to play at the convention. So these new things from AV Figures, again, I'll show them one more time here, and eventually I'll figure out how to show my screen properly once I get that all figured out. So yeah, and I don't know if that's like the only position you can set them in, so you can kind of see they have it tilted up or down. I wonder if you can go side to side or not. So I don't know, that is quite interesting, and that's actually such a cool idea, and I'm surprised no one has really done it yet. So definitely keep me updated if any of you guys end up getting this thing, because I'm just curious to see what exactly this is going to be like, and I may get a couple just to try it, but I also will probably just stick to my stubborn ways of doing things. So it looks like there's a option for the head and for the neck piece, which would be the joint. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so yeah, something to keep in mind and check out on AV Figures, I believe. So let's see. Hey, Kennedy, True Squadron's here. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. Return of the Jedi figures. Yeah, we could grab a couple. Let's see what I probably just have Luke, Boba Fett. Yeah, I could grab Luke and Boba Fett. I had like one of the only Return of the Jedi sets I really have is the Desert Skiff from, had to be I want to say 2012, but I'm not entirely sure. I think that's when it was. It was 2012. So I will grab a couple of those. Of course, like the Lando Calrissian figure and some of the other figures from that set have like torn apart to use in different figure configurations and everything. But yeah, a little revolutionary for Lego stuff. I'm very curious to see like people doing that. So very, very interesting with those particular, because something I've always, wanted to see more in a lot of the Lego mocks and stuff on Instagram and YouTube too. And Owen's in here, so I did see Owen did a great job of figure setups on his latest Umbara mock. But in like a lot of at conventions, a lot of mocks and stuff, people put so much detail into the build, so the build looks phenomenal, and of course that's the main appeal. But I'm always a big proponent of you can have an incredible build, but if you don't have figures set up, you know, in an interesting way, it, for me personally, somewhat takes away from the story of the build, not the quality of the build, because the quality of that mock is like the mock is quality, and you're not really changing that. It's more of the figures aren't really telling a story for your build. So with these new products from AV Figures, perhaps this will encourage more people to put more thought into figure setups, because I really do think the way you set up minifigures in your build can tell a story. And until you try it, because I didn't realize this for a while, until you really try to put time into figures, you never realize how much more it can elevate your build. Because a good build is a good build, but then when you do put some time into the figures, it really, in my opinion, can elevate to a whole new level from like a storytelling perspective, which is one of the reasons I love building. So yeah, Owen, same way about sticky tack. Yeah, I respect that for sure. And yeah, I thought you did a really good job on your figures for Umbara, in my opinion. So that's stuff I like to see more of on builds. So I'm excited for these. Maybe this will, people will put a little more focus, especially like on Instagram, it's a lot of like, people put a big focus on the actual build itself, which is, like I said a couple seconds ago, obviously very important. And figures are kind of a secondhand thought for some builds on Instagram. So I'm really excited to see perhaps products like these will make people think more about that. So I'm very excited about that. So at $500 for fig parts and accessories for Umbara. Nice, dude. Nice. That's exciting. That's really cool. Hey, Michigan Bricks, what's up, Alex? How's it going, man? We were just talking about the AV Figures like jointed heads that Yako sent. So we were just talking about that. Favorite part of building mocks? Nice, Owen. It's same for me. So if you ever see me at a convention on like Friday or Friday night, you'll see me kind of just spending hours at the table putting together figures and stuff. And I'm kind of like in a zone trying to set figures up. So yeah, so that's something I might do more of in the live streams, is because I know there's a way, I see the setting, I think, on here where you can show your computer screen. So I think that's something I could start doing on these live streams to kind of get some more topics going, is show new stuff that I find that I think would be interesting for topics like these new products from AV Figures, or maybe there's something new from Konami Customs, or there's a mock that I really, really like, and stuff like that I would want to talk about and show. So very exciting stuff. All right. And I kind of felt the same way, which was interesting, about like brick arms, like their posable droid arms, which I think were really cool. And I've only ever used the like black ones for the assassin droids from Unilist. I used those. I've never used the actual like normal B1 battle droid, like tan ones. So I'll have to try that out sometime. So Brick Arms has like these posable arms that you can get, and I got the black ones for my assassin droids. And I was able to do a lot of really cool stuff because it had the spear duel from Unilist. So with the posing, I was able to do some really, really cool things with the assassin droids. The only problem is it doesn't go like side to side, it only goes up and down. But I was able to get the arms to go side to side if I reversed it. So like there's the correct way, because when you buy the arms from Brick Arms, the Battle Droid arms, you're supposed to put them a certain way. If you like do it the other way, you can get it to go sideways. So I was able to have like an assassin droid like aiming down sights on a pulse rifle and stuff. So I've wanted to try more stuff for the battle droids, and hopefully I can do that with Umbara, with the actual battle droids going up and down. Hey, look at this. Oh, you don't have to do that, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Michigan Bricks putting in a little donation there. Thank you so much, man. That warms my heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, man. I'll definitely be putting that towards either some more Umbarans, or we've got our ridiculously expensive 212 Troopers. So we'll decide there. Thank you so much, man. That is very appreciated. Thank you, dude. It's awesome. And he said, can't stay long, but can't wait to see the next episode. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by today. I wasn't sure how many people would be free today. This was kind of my only free time this weekend to kind of get a live stream going, since I kind of missed doing that on Thursday and Friday. So, oh, there, it came through. Okay, it came through in the chat before it came through in the on the video. Okay, so it's a little delayed, but that's okay. Again, thank you, Michigan Bricks, for that. Everybody, this is a great time to say this. Go check out his YouTube page if you haven't already for Michigan Bricks there. He's been doing a lot of awesome stuff. So I would check it out personally if you haven't already. You don't want to miss out. Same with his Instagram. Thanks again, man. I forgot I had all those like notifications and everything that pop up like this. I forgot I did all that stuff, so gotta remember to do that. All right. If you need more Umbara troops, I have like 5 or 6 torsos. Oh, I may take you up on that. We'll see. Oh my goodness, Scott going. Oh, dude. Oh goodness. Scott also put in $5. Here's a little more to help out. Oh, thank you so much, man. That is. Oh, that's so generous. You guys don't have to do that, man. That's. Oh goodness. Thank you so much, man. That is so cool. Thank you. That'll definitely go towards figures, most likely. I also need to buy, I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, some more black slip pieces to make some of those weird looking tree things that are along the side of the road. So that is going to help out tremendously. Thank you guys so much. That is so cool. I'll replay that again in case I talked over it. Boom, there it is. What do I have on there? Oh, I've got a picture from my Jedi Nightfall landing pad mock. That was quite a while ago. That was like almost 3 years ago now. That's kind of crazy. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. That is extremely generous. Thank you. And then I will make sure what I did on Mutinalist when I did those live streams, and I'll make sure to do the same thing. Same thing for Umbara is give you guys a shout out when that episode pops up. So whenever I get around to ordering stuff in that episode, whatever the next episode would be, I'll give you guys a shout out. So it could be this episode or next episode whenever I get around to ordering some stuff. So that is awesome. Thank you guys. Because as I mentioned, I think in last live stream, the biggest hurdle for Umbara was going to be minifigures. And I found some solutions. I think I talked about last episode, live stream, for the Umbarans, since they're so expensive, was I was able to find a lot of the torsos, and then the legs are pretty simple. I mean, you could do a combination of all sorts of different colors, like gray and light gray, so I've been mixing and matching different things, and I think it'll work just fine. But the biggest part for the Umbarans was the helmets are really expensive, because I think they only made them in white for the Umbarans. Maybe it was one other set, but they're really hard to find, so I just would use these astronaut helmets instead. And I think that doesn't look as good as the normal Umbarans, but like it's probably going to have to do. And you still can pose them pretty cool, as you can see on the what I've got on screen right now. You still can do a decent amount of stuff posing them, almost more than you can for the normal Umbaran helmets. You can pose more with the smaller ones, with some of the figures I've got getting blasted by Jesse and a couple of those 501st guys. What set did they come in for the Umbarans? The Umbarans came in the mobile cannon set. So this is another thing. If I had my computer thing set up, I can pull it up. It came out. It was 2013 set, I believe. And it had that weird 212 trooper who was yellow, and then Ahsoka in her season 3 plus new outfit, and then Umbaran. I think that was the minifigure lineup. I never got the set. I always wanted to. Mobile heavy cannon. I think that was what it was called. I always wanted that set, and I never got around to it, unfortunately. But that was the only set Umbarans came in, which is crazy, actually, now that I think about it. I'm very surprised that LEGO has never done, besides that year when they did those couple sets, they never did Umbaran sets again. And they had the 501st ATRT, but that one was just kind of weird because it had Yoda in it and the 501st Troopers, but no Umbarans, even though the background, I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, the background was set on Umbara for the box art, and they just didn't come with any Umbarans. So a little weird. And I'm just surprised they never did any more Umbaran sets, just because of how popular that arc is. But at the same time, Clone Wars arcs, I know they haven't done a ton of sets from. But we saw something as obscure as the new Coruscant, like Shock Troopers gunship. So maybe one day they'll go back to doing Umbara stuff. With my luck, they'll probably do Umbaran sets like next year after I finish the mock. That's kind of what happened with Siege of Mandalore. I didn't time it very well because I did the mock a year before. Was it a year? Yeah, a year before the actual show came out. The actual seasons, the unfinished episodes came out. Because I finished that mock, the Siege of Mandalore, was 2019 for Brickworld. So then the year after that was when the actual episodes aired, and then a couple years later was when the next year after that would have been when in 2021 when a lot of those actual sets came out with like Bo-Katan's the Mandalorian Starfighter, the Ahsoka vs. Maul set, and then now this year we've got the 332nd Battle Pack or whatever. So yeah, I seem to time it incorrectly at times, but that's okay. One thing that I was considering making, I don't think I'll make any of those mobile heavy cannon things because I think it'll just be too big for my mock in terms of what it would need to be scale-wise. Because if you remember that show in the episode, The General, how big those tanks are, like mobile heavy cannon tanks, whatever, they were massive compared to a clone trooper. So I don't think I'd make those at all. But I may make some of those ones we see when they try to land. So there's those weird kind of, I don't even know how to describe them. They kind of have like the two turrets and they go like this and they shoot like the energized, like blue kind of crystal, like energized ball, like cannon things. I would love to make one or two of those if I can. And maybe be able to place those sometime or somewhere around the mock. So something I thought about, never ended using, was that visor in trans light blue on the astronaut helmet. Yeah, it's one thing I almost ordered was not the trans light blue, but I almost ordered like green, like trans green for the Umbaran helmets to see what it looks like, because when I watch the show I almost feel like the actual like visors more of a greenish or blue, like as you pointed out, but instead they kind of just went for this trans black or clear black, whatever it's called, helmet, which I thought was interesting. So that's something I may end up doing, is switching these. Instead of having this like clear black trans color right there, I might go with green or blue just to see what that looks like. But that's something that I'll consider doing a little bit later. I've got more pressing issues to attend to for this build. So what ended up, I'm a rap god there. What I ended up doing over the past couple days here was work on a lot of these kind of like tentacle things. So if you guys are familiar with Umbara, there's a lot of these weird, just kind of like massive tentacles sticking out of the ground, out of trees, all over the place. So this is kind of what I did over the past couple days. I made a bunch of different sizes and everything like that. This is the lavender 1x1s right here, because I don't want to use the lavender for the terrain, I don't know if it'll fit anymore. So trying to find a different, and I think Owen suggested not using the lavender for the terrain, so I might get rid of that. But instead I thought lavender looked pretty good for these like tentacle looking things, and these are on flex tubes, so I'll be able to angle them a little bit here, which will be really cool. But I made a whole bunch of different sizes, and hopefully I'll be able to make more. But essentially all it is are like 1x4, 1x6 black tiles on like modified bricks with a stud on all side, and then connected to a flex tube like this, and then plates on the front with the lavender like that. And hopefully that'll look cool for kind of these weird tentacle looking things that just seem to be all over the place on Umbara. So we'll see how I'm able to place them or where I'll place them. The biggest part is like what base to make with them, because if you see over here on this one, I didn't really make a base. I just kind of stuck them in the ground to see what they looked like, but I think they need some sort of base. So I'll have to look at the show again and try to figure out how exactly or what they looked like for a base, and get to work on that. So that's something I'll kind of update you guys in the main episode. Another thing I wanted to, I break that, show you guys. And hey, Bacon Bricks is here. What's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Another thing I wanted to show you was I got a bunch of these pieces, these kind of flower pieces like I think they're magenta flower pieces or something like that. My parents were out of town and found a Lego store, so they stopped at and grabbed some of these for me. So I don't know exactly what to use them for on Umbara here. I kind of was doing a similar thing with flex tubes and a bunch of different things to make some weird plant pieces. I don't know if they fit an Umbara or this would more be like a Fuchsia type plant, but I've got a decent, like, let's see, where is it? You know, a decent amount left of these, and I made a bunch of different kind of variations of this. So maybe I'll mess around a little bit more with that. I just don't know if they entirely fit. I don't think they fit. So here, if I take this off, I don't think these pieces fit like if you use them as a regular plant piece like this. I think like what I've been trying to do is, you know, turn them as I drop them. My fingers are so hard to grip these sometimes. Putting them upside down or sideways and making different plant elements through this. So lots of different weird plants to try to get through and work through for Umbara. But it's exciting because I've never really built something like that before. So very exciting stuff. Let me put this back where I had it. Over there. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? The Umbara minifigure. Yeah, so this was... So the one on screen, it'll be the closest down, I think, on the left side of the screen if you're watching, I think. That's the normal helmet for Umbara. And then this was the kind of astronaut space one that I have been using instead because it's a lot cheaper than the main Umbaran helmets, which I was surprised. I thought the helmets would be the cheapest part. I thought the torsos and the heads would be more expensive, but it's actually the helmets that are absurdly expensive. So this is my substitute for now until I can figure some stuff out. Alright, so let me grab some of those Return of the Jedi minifigures real quick. Grab Luke and Boba Fett. So this is from the Desert Skiff set, which I think was, trying to find it, where I put it on my wall, but I think it was 2012. I think it was 2012, because I think it has the Darth Maul. Yeah, it's got the Darth Maul thing, box art on it. So I think it was either 2011 or 2012 for when this set came out, the Desert Skiff. But here's that Luke figure. Compared to what we get today, it's so simple in design, but I mean, I quite like it. But a very simple design compared to what we get nowadays. So there's the Luke, the Return of the Jedi Luke, and then the Boba Fett, which I gave him a Brick Arms EE3. I remember in EA's first Battlefront game, this one was really fun. This blaster was fun to use on Boba Fett. But this is the Desert Skiff, Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. Still, in my opinion, a really strong and good figure, even compared to what we get today. And the only thing that's missing on this Boba Fett figure would be arm printing. But otherwise, I really do love this minifigure quite a lot, especially the head print. And obviously, it's not the same color as it is like newer Clone Troopers nowadays. But for back in the day, I really do think this is a good Boba Fett. So, and the cape is really cool. Yeah, I don't know, I just think the cape's really cool on this Boba Fett. So I will set him up a little bit here. Boba Fett. Let's do this. Get Luke going. Boba Fett. If you guys haven't seen the Robot Chicken Boba Fett stuff, in my opinion, that's the best. Robot Chicken stuff is the Boba Fett stuff. Although the Emperor Palpatine stuff is really good as well. There's a look at our minifigures there. The Robot Chicken Boba Fett stuff, I think, is the funniest stuff in my opinion, especially the Sailbard stuff. And when he falls into the Sarlacc pit, and the Weequay pirates like asking him how he fell in. It's just some of the funniest stuff, I think, is that those skits. Good stuff. Another thing we haven't really talked about yet, and I kind of wish I would have done the live stream couple weeks ago, 2 weeks, last week, whenever it was, so we could talk about it. But the Ahsoka show did drop. I don't know how you guys are feeling yet about that. We had an episode last week as well, and then tomorrow already, I guess, will be another episode, so that's really cool. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched those episodes yet. If not, we don't have to talk about them, but there's not really much to spoil yet. At least I don't think there is, so... Okay, sorry, someone was texting me here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so what are we thinking so far about Ahsoka? All right, enjoying Ahsoka for the most part, and Ahsoka acts so stoic. Yeah, so couple things so far. The things that I'm enjoying are the stuff that I thought I would enjoy the least, surprisingly enough. I'm not a big Rebels fan, much at all, really. So I kind of knew I wasn't really going to be super excited to see all the characters like in live action. I'm excited for people who love the show that are able to see this in live action, but so I wasn't super excited about that stuff anyways. But the thing I'm enjoying the most, which I did not think I would enjoy, was the Baylan and Shin stuff. I'm really, really liking that stuff. I didn't think I would like it because I'm not a big fan of the idea of more Sith. I know they're not technically Sith running around, but I'm a big, episode 1 through 6 fan, and I just like the idea that Anakin brought balance to the Force, and that was kind of the end of that, and the Sith didn't really come back for a long time after that. So I wasn't a big fan when I heard they were bringing in these two characters, but in the show so far, those two characters are my favorite from what I've seen. Baylan, I think, is just somebody that I am liking a lot more than I thought, to the point where at the end of last episode, when they cut to him finally, I was really excited to see some stuff from him, and then the episode ended. So I'm quite enjoying that aspect of the story. The Sabine being Ahsoka's apprentice, I'm just not really caring for yet, mostly because I just never really assumed she did the Force, but I know they're going a different route where everyone can tap into the Force and whatnot. I did like the more kind of, I'm a big samurai guy, so I did like a lot of the kind of training that they did. Kind of the training sticks that they were using looked like katanas. They were kind of curved blades at the top, so I thought that was cool. But yeah, I'm enjoying the show so far. I think it's good. I'm not like loving it. The stuff I'm really liking is the Baylan stuff. So I'd almost rather see more from him than a lot of the other, Rebels crew stuff. Ahsoka to me is still, I liked her introduction in Mando. I just will never be able to get over, and this is my own problem, Ashley Eckstein not really being Ahsoka, because it looks like Ahsoka, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. It looks like Ahsoka, but it doesn't necessarily feel like the essence of Ahsoka. It doesn't really feel there to me. Even in the episodes, in the Rebels episodes, I felt the essence of Ahsoka was still there. In all the live action adaptations, I just haven't felt the essence of Ahsoka yet. Physically, I'm like, hey, that's Ahsoka. But I'm just not really feeling like it's her. I don't know if you guys understand how I'm feeling yet. Like if you guys feel that way as well, but and I know Rosario Dawson's a great actress and everything. I just haven't felt, there's just something missing, and I don't know if it's just the voice or the character. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's just something missing in my opinion. It doesn't quite feel like Ahsoka yet. So the thing I'm looking forward to the most is any sort of flashbacks we're going to get with Ahsoka and Anakin. That's kind of the part I'm really wanting to see at this point. Again, I'm just not a big Rebels guy, so I'm not really super, interested or excited for Ezra and like finding him or whatnot. Thrawn, obviously, I think is a really cool character, so I'm excited to see him. But I'm just not as emotionally attached to the Rebels stuff. So when we get any Clone Wars flashbacks, I will definitely be very much like, okay, now we're getting Clone Wars flashbacks. I'm getting invested into the show. But at the moment, I'm just really excited about the Baylan stuff, in my opinion. I think his character seems very deep and rich, which I'm quite excited about. He's not a one-note villain yet. I'm a little worried they're going to make him one note at the end of the show and he's going to be like, you know, just wants power like every other Sith. I really hope that's not the case. But when his apprentice Shin asks him, like, when they find Thrawn, what are they looking for? Or, like, what will they find? He kind of says a new beginning, and he kind of looks off and kind of, you know, you can tell there's something there. Same part when he's kind of hesitant about killing Ahsoka. And, you know, Morgan's, like, sentimental, and he's, like, you know, truthful. And that, to me, is more depth than a lot of other characters that we've been seeing in some of the recent, you know, in some of the sequel trilogy and some of the other shows, you know, Book of Boba Fett and stuff like that. So I think Baylan is the most interesting character by far, in my opinion, and I'm most excited to see more stuff from him. But I am enjoying the show. It's Star Wars, so I'm going to watch it. But Andor is still my number one, and I will take more Andor any time of the day. So I'm just kind of sitting around waiting for Andor, but I'm really, really liking Baylan. So anytime they cut away to Baylan, I will be excited for the show. The Sabine stuff and Ezra, I'm just not really interested in. And then Ahsoka, like I said, I love Ahsoka. But there's just something missing, and I don't know what exactly it is about her live-action portrayal. Maybe that's just the difference between animation and live-action. But I did not feel that way about Bo-Katan or Saw Gerrera. And granted, they're smaller characters than Ahsoka. But with Ahsoka, I just haven't... there's something missing where it doesn't feel quite like her yet. And I'm just waiting for that moment. Maybe seeing her and Anakin on screen together will be that moment for me. I'm not really sure, but... Alright, it's enough rambling. Owen's enjoying Ahsoka for the most part. Bacon, yeah, Ahsoka's acting stoic. That was kind of one of my points. Which I'm fine with her acting, you know, stoic, but again, there's something missing. Scoop, you've lost a lot of respect for Disney. I mean, it's your prerogative. I've been mixed on new Star Wars stuff. I love Rogue One. And I love Andor, and I really like Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, of course, I really like. But the new trilogy just wasn't really for me and stuff like that. But anyway, they should reintroduce Abeloth for the eventual new trilogy. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. No, I really should know that. But Legends, I never really got into Legends, actually. I've never... read really a lot of the Legends stuff. I only know about like Old Republic stuff. I've just never really got into Legends. When I was a kid, it was always just Clone Wars and stuff like that in the prequels. So I just haven't really ever got into Legends. But I did find like a kind of a toy store. I found the Heir to the Empire book, and it was like $5, so I ended up getting it just as like a kind of like a collector's item thing, just because. This was like maybe a year ago. So we knew, I think, Ahsoka was going to have a show, but we didn't really know exactly what it was going to be, or that it would be Heir to the Empire. So I just picked up the book, so I kind of have it in the collection now, and maybe someday I'll be able to sit down and read it. But yeah, really disliking the Ahsoka show, sadly, because Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters. Agreeing with you. Oh, that's too bad, man. I'm enjoying, you know, just for the most part, Star Wars, so I'm enjoying it. But I'm just, like I said, the Rebels angle is just not really hitting for me. But I'm loving the Baylan stuff. I'm really excited for that. Ashley Eckstein should have been involved somehow. I also agree. Anakin's Force Ghost, that is the goal. That is the goal. We hope so. What's up, Lucky? Hello from Germany. Hey, Mello. How's it going, man? You're from Kuwait, Lucky? Okay. We got a little bit of spam, so we're gonna get rid of those, all right? Just because we don't want any of the spam. So if you want a message, you can type in, you know, once or twice, but just not spamming the same message there unless you had a spasm on the keyboard on accident. So I'm going to remove some of these but you're from Kuwait. Welcome. I actually had... I knew someone from Kuwait, one of my neighbors, when I was little that I used to hang out with. So, all right. From Germany, Mello. Nice. What's it like? How far? Like, what's the time difference? Is it 6 or 7 hours? I forget. How far away? What time it would be? Pretty late there, I would imagine. So, The episode where Thrawn finally... Oh, sorry. Yeah, no worries, man. No worries, man. Don't worry about this. You're all good. It's all good. I just wasn't sure if it was an accident or whatnot, but no worries, man. No worries. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. The episode where Thrawn finally appears, being called heir to the Empire, would be cool. I agree, man. I agree. Thrawn would be cool to see. So I'm excited for Thrawn, but I just never have had a big connection to him either. So just because I never really got into Legends and Rebels, I thought he was cool, but I don't know. Doing good. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Kyle. What's up, man? How's it going? Habs fan. What's up, man? Now, Kyle, the profile is really small on my screen, so I'm going to look all the way in. Is that a Manchester United profile picture? I am a big Chelsea fan, so. And you guys had a tough game against Arsenal. If that is, I think that's Man City. Or not Man City, sorry, Manchester United. You guys had a tough game against Arsenal yesterday, didn't you? I wish I would have been on to watch it because it looked like it was a really good game. Slowly making my way through Heir to the Empire novel. Okay. Is it good, Owen? Because like I said, I have it. I just haven't really read it. So interesting. Cool. Oh, thanks, Mello. Okay, so it is. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Quite the collection. Yep, I've got all of the sets behind me, all the box cover arts on the wall and everything like that. I kept all my boxes from when I was a kid, and my parents were always like, "Why do you keep those?" I just always thought they were cool, and then they helped me put all these boxes up on the wall. So I think the most recent set up on the wall in terms of box art, like in terms of years, would be like the 501st Battle Pack from 2020. All the other sets on there are probably from like 2016 and back, or maybe 17. Just because I haven't been a lot of the recent sets, I just haven't gotten a ton of. Either because I just didn't like them or they're too expensive. So my collection has slowed down in terms of Lego sets, and I focus more on parts now. But I do have a list of Lego sets that I want to get. I really want BD1 before that goes off the shelves. I really want that BD1. I think that's so cool. And then I really want the new ATTE and the gunship, the newer gunship. So those are kind of the three sets that are on my list. They're just all very expensive, and combining that, like each of those are what, $100, $140, $130. That's a lot of money in parts that I could be using instead. So that is the dilemma. Oh, you're just doing the recap, Scott. Yeah, I mean, I would. It's Star Wars, and it's fun Star Wars, So I would recommend watching it if you have the time. But say like if someone was like, "Hey, I'm just signing up for Disney Plus for 1 week. What show should I watch?" Personally, for me, Andor is my favorite, but I think Mandalorian season 1 and 2 would be the first thing I would recommend to people if they're like, "Yeah, I'm just getting Disney Plus for this 1 week," or they have a free trial or whatnot. I would say Mando season 1 and 2, even though I think I like Andor the most. But Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are quite special, so especially season 1, in my opinion. Oh, thanks, Mello. Yeah, I'm getting excited to work on Umbara. So, King is Arthur. What's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. So, Bacon Bricks, are you like? Have you read? What's it? Yeah, I guess they just call it the Heir to the Empire trilogy. Have you read that, and it seems like you're familiar with it for the most part. So, will you enjoy the Ahsoka show a lot more if you see a lot of the elements from Heir to the Empire, or do you think that adapting Heir to the Empire, in this era of Star Wars from Lucasfilm and Disney, just wouldn't ever really work because of all the changes they're making, or are you someone who's excited to see Heir to the Empire adapted on the screen? I'm very curious because I don't have an attachment to the Heir to the Empire, so I'm just kind of open to whatever story elements they do, and I'm sure they're changing quite a lot. So as someone who's a fan of that, Heir to the Empire books, I'm curious if you're just not really looking forward to a lot of the Thrawn stuff, or if you're quite excited for it. When do you think, hey, Lucky, when do you think we will see Anakin and Ahsoka? So I talked earlier, I said that was the thing I'm kind of would get really attached to because I'm not a big Rebels guy, but Clone Wars is my thing. So whenever Anakin shows up, that would be my I'm excited, So let's see. we're on episode 3. Episode 4 is tomorrow for Ahsoka, and that episode clearly is going to be probably when Ahsoka fights Baylan, and something with the space whales, the hyperspace ring thing will probably take off. So I'm gonna guess we don't see Anakin next episode. My problem is I just don't know when they would see Anakin, because I figure we're already 3 episodes in. The 4th one is probably going to end with them like getting to that new galaxy, or the hyperspace ring, jumps into hyperspace at the end of the episode, and maybe Ahsoka and Sabine are on the ship and they go with them, or they're stranded on that planet. So I just don't know when we would see Ahsoka and Anakin. Now, it's possible that at the start of, even at the start of this next episode, because they're in their ship and Baylan's forces are coming to get them. So I don't think there'd be any time for her to Force Ghost with Anakin. So I think it might be at the end of the series. But the lines that we heard in one of the trailers where Anakin was doing a voiceover made it seem like this was a talk that would happen at the start of the series before she goes on the adventure. So unless that was just kind of a miscue and they're just like trying to distract you and just try to get you like some Anakin hype, I don't know if Anakin will show up until later in the series. I just don't know when, unless like in episode 6 or something, and they're in like this new galaxy. If Ahsoka is like stranded somewhere with Sabine, and they're trying to figure out how to get through this temple, or maybe this new galaxy, there's some sort of new planet they're on, then maybe they could see Anakin. But at the same time, not next episode, and the episode after that, I see them being kind of engaged in a lot of action, especially the episode tomorrow. So, you've been enjoying it? Okay, I'm curious. Yeah, I was curious about that. Hey, what's up, man? Bounty Hunter Bricks, what's up, man? Oh, yeah, I've got Boba Fett on the helmet there. Scott recommended some Return of the Jedi figures, so there you go. Oh, thanks, Lucky. I appreciate it, man. Good to have you. Yeah, so that's the thing, Scott. We aren't 100% sure. I'm going off of the trailer where they had Anakin do a voiceover. And then I'm also going off the fact that I think like a year or something ago, Rosario Dawson like accidentally spoiled that Hayden Christensen was on set, because I think her and Hayden Christensen like were friends, or they went to the same acting school, or were in a class, or something like that. So I think she spoiled it on her Instagram story or something, that Hayden was on set. But I'm mostly going off the fact of in the trailer, we hear Hayden Christensen doing a voiceover to Ahsoka. Now, again, they could have just recorded that for the trailer, but I feel like they would know that if they're putting Anakin into the trailer, that people are going to expect him to show up and will be disappointed if he doesn't show up. So if you're going to use him as a marketing tool, I feel like he has to show up, but just don't know when. You only read the first book? Okay. Oh, there's a Dark Jedi. Okay, I see. So they are adapting. So it's cool if they're adapting some of it. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'll get around to the book hopefully sometime, Do you think Ahsoka will die at the end of the series, or the Dave Filoni movie? So we do hear her voice, I think, in that episode 9 sequence. It's actually Eckstein, I think, that does the voice for it. Which is interesting, right? But I haven't watched episode 9 in a long time. No comment. I actually enjoy episode 9 more than the other 2 movies. I know it's crazy because episode 9 has so many plot holes and just stupid stuff like Palpatine being back. It's so dumb. But in the theater, I was watching episode 9 and I was like, alright, I'm having a better time than I was in the previous 2 movies, because I actually had the whole crew together and they were doing stuff, even though I think the movie has a lot of stupid stuff in it, like Palpatine. But anyway, I think Ahsoka will die before episode 9. I could see the Dave Filoni movie. I could see Ahsoka potentially dying in that one, or what I could see happening is some sort of mystical thing happening with her where she doesn't necessarily die, but something is going to happen with the sister, because if you remember in Clone Wars, Ahsoka dies, and the sister from the Mortis arc gives her like life to Ahsoka, and that's why we see the bird follow her around, the owl. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happens where Ahsoka like becomes some sort of figure like the sister from the Mortis arc, and that's like what happens to her at the end of the Dave Filoni movie, whenever that comes out in the late 2020s, if it comes out. my guess would be Ahsoka doesn't necessarily die, but she transforms into some sort of spirit thing. I could see Dave Filoni doing something like that, where she becomes like a new version of the sister from the Mortis arc. So she's like technically not really alive anymore, but she still is like become like the ultimate Force user, which I could see Dave Filoni doing, where his character from Clone Wars, you know, we see her go through all this stuff when she becomes like just the ultimate Force entity, essentially. I could see that happening with Ahsoka, instead of her dying, you know, like an Obi-Wan where he sacrifices himself, or like a Luke at the end of Episode 8. I could see Ahsoka transforming into something otherworldly, if that makes sense. So I don't know what I would prefer. By the time Dave Filoni's movie comes out, Ahsoka will have been through quite the journey. So let's say his movie, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy has made a lot of comments about when the movies are supposed to come out. At first, Dave Filoni's movie is going to come out sooner, and then she said, well, actually, the Rey movie is going to come out first, and then we're going to wait 3 years in between each movie. And we know we have the James Mangold, you know, Dawn of the Jedi movie. So who knows? It's impossible, you know, with Lucasfilm and all their problems with keeping movies together. I would assume if Dave Filoni's movie is going to happen, it will happen in 2027, 2028, or later than that. So by the time that comes around, Ahsoka will have been a character for over 2 decades. So it's really hard to say, like, how exactly it'll feel to have her story wrapped up, which is why I feel Dave Filoni has never, especially when Ahsoka fought Vader in Rebels, she never really had a definitive ending. You know, I feel like he's just not going to be someone to give Ahsoka in like a hard cut, you know, she disappears, her robes fall to the ground type of ending. I think he's going to do something different with her. Let's see. So that was my long-winded answer to that question. Yes, no comment, exactly. But and then I guess another thing to touch on from that Ahsoka show would be the New Republic angle of stuff. Thought it was interesting. I don't think it was as done as well as like the politics in Andor, which I like the Mon Mothma stuff in Andor, which I really loved. For instance, I feel like the Senator was a little too much. Okay, so that's one thing about the show that I actually do enjoy, but after watching Andor, that kind of contrasts each other. The Ahsoka show is a lot more, how should I, not stylized, but it's a lot more like, I don't know if goofy is the right word, but it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more like spontaneous. It just feels like it's a little more, not stereotypical, but like the bad guys, you know, like the senator who's kind of like the mean senator, he's very like obviously the mean senator. And there's a lot of lines that are like very, you know, like Star Wars-y, which I do love. And a little like, you know, especially like a lot of the space fighting, you get a lot of the classical kind of Star Wars elements to it, which I think is really good for a show like this. But when it comes to the politics side of things, so when we see Mon Mothma and we see the New Republic, I really liked what we get in Andor. So I don't know if that made sense or not, but the Ahsoka show kind of feels more fun, if that makes sense. Kind of like, it does feel more like something George would love, which you know, I'm a George Lucas. I love everything he does on Star Wars. So, and that side of things, I really do love it. But when it comes to the political stuff in Star Wars, with Mon Mothma and the New Republic, I really, really like what they did with Andor. So I think that's where maybe there'll be a little bit of a disconnect between the politics with Mon Mothma and Andor, and what she is portrayed as in the Ahsoka show. So I'm really interested to see how they handle that. But and Ahsoka just has more action. Like, it just has more of the classical Star Wars action with lots of lightsabers and space battles and everything. So, and I'm enjoying that part of the show. I know some people, I think I heard some people had a problem with Ahsoka, like walking out into space. But for me, I quite enjoyed that, especially since the Cargo of Doom episode from Clone Wars, where her and Anakin use the ATTEs to board Cad Bane's frigate. That's one of my favorite episodes in Clone Wars. I love that episode. So I thought it was a cool little throwback to have her out in space. So I personally didn't have a problem with it. To me, that felt really cool, and I liked that. So okay, so that senator is also someone from Heir to the Empire. Okay. Yeah, it's weird because like for most of the Star Wars shows, I'm always like, I know everything and every single character and like all the references. And like one silly example would be like, I remember Mandalorian season 2, the second to last episode with Bill Burr and Mando when they go on like the train sequence or the little transport thing, and they're trying to go undercover into the base. I remember they were transporting Rhydonium, and that's a Clone Wars thing from the episode with Gregor. Like they're on that planet, and the droids are like mining the Rhydonium to put on the Republic Venator to then blow up, the Republic military meeting or whatever. So like all the small stuff like that, I'm usually like, I got it. But for this show, where it's more based on Rebels and it's based on like some of the legend stuff, I just don't know it as much. But it's exciting because I get to learn new stuff, which normally it's the other way, where I'm like, yep, I know that, here's that little Easter egg, there's this. But for this show, it's a little more of like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I don't know a lot of these references in terms of legends and stuff like that. And even Rebels, I know there's people are really excited about the character, I think is, what's his name, Jai, I forget. He was the senator on Lothal, not the guy that plays Savage Opress, Clancy Brown, that's the actor's name, I believe. Not him, because his character I remember from Rebels, but one of the other senators on that platform or something. So that is the thing I'm enjoying about the show, is there's a lot of, Legends connections that I'm just not as aware of, which is really cool. Another thing, let's see, I don't know if I'll be able to show it on the camera or not. I'm working on another smaller mock here, so I've got Umbara going on right now, and then last week or the week before, I should say, or the weekend before, I started to work on another little military mock for another episode of my From Start to Finish series. So if you guys haven't checked out that series, that's essentially a series where I have a smaller sized mock, and I start with like the plain base plates, and I kind of start on plain base plates and then finish the mock inside of one episode, and I do like mini updates throughout the whole thing. So it's kind of like an episode of one of my larger mock update series, but you see a mock go from start to finish, so it's completed in one episode, and it's usually a smaller mock. And I do things like military stuff, so I've done samurai, I've done World War II stuff like the Pacific, and I've done Eastern Front and Napoleonic battle. I did do one Christophsis one, which was fun, but it's a lot of smaller stuff that I get to experiment on the side while I'm building some of these larger mocks. So I started to build a Vietnam mock, and I think it's like a 2x2 green base plate, so 4 green base plates in total. And it's been really fun to work on, and I've been recording updates for it every once in a while here. I've got a decent amount of work done on it, but I've still got a little more left to do. There's like a building and then a street and some vegetation and stuff like that, so I need to work on the second floor of the building itself. That's kind of the big thing that I need to work on, and then that'll be almost kind of finished up. So I'm having actually a lot of fun doing it. I'm like a big military history guy, and all my big series that I do on my channel are obviously like Star Wars stuff. So it's really fun to go off to the side and do the military stuff that I really like to do, especially World War II stuff, because I have a decent amount of German World War II figures and stuff. But for this one, I wanted to do a Vietnam mock, so I was able to put together some figures and then use some of my World War II Pacific Marines and kind of change some of their loadouts and use them for Vietnam figures. So I'm actually really excited the way the mock's looking so far. It's like a sand green building with some white elements and kind of support pillars and everything, and there's kind of like a broken down wall on the outside with like sand blue, and then I've got the vegetation and a little bit of the road around it. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that one. I have no idea when it's going to come out because I've been really busy lately. Got a job and doing all, very busy, so hopefully I'll be able to get that episode out in the next couple weeks, but it's hard to say, but I'm trying because I'm really enjoying building that mock over there, especially when on Umbara it's all the same colors. But for this one, I was able to do a lot of different colors, which is really cool. So, hey, what's up, 66 Bricks? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. There's a rumor going around that Darth Maul's coming to the show. That would be one of the dumbest things, in my opinion. Even, again, I'm not a big Rebels guy, but I did watch the episode where Maul, dies. So he's dead. I don't see how he could come back unless it's a World Between Worlds thing. I remember that from Rebels. I watched a lot of the Rebels episodes. I just wasn't a big fan. I wasn't tuning in every week. I was kind of catching the episodes when I could. The only episodes I absolutely love is the Ahsoka vs. Vader episode. I love that episode. Some of the best Star Wars stuff, Ahsoka vs. Vader. So yeah, he's long gone. So the only way I see Darth Maul coming into play in this series would be for a World Between Worlds type of thing. Because I don't think, the more and more the show goes on, and I'm kind of worried by this, I don't think we're getting a lot of Clone Wars flashbacks. Like for Kenobi, I was really hoping to get a flashback, multiple flashbacks with him, Anakin, going through the Clone Wars and everything. And that didn't really happen a ton. We just had the one flashback with them training. So now the Ahsoka show, all my hopes kind of transferred to that, to where I'm really hoping to see Clone Wars flashbacks with this show. But the more and more it goes on, I just don't know where that's going to fit in. So I have no idea. It's also adjusting my laptop camera is getting very bright. So I don't see Maul coming into play unless it's World Between Worlds. So I'm not even getting my hopes up to see any Clone Wars battle flashbacks. I just think if we're getting a flashback, I don't even think we're going to get a flashback anymore. I think we might just get Force Ghost Anakin, and so, which kind of, if they don't do any Clone Wars flashbacks, I really think that's a big missed opportunity to have Ahsoka and Anakin and even Obi-Wan with Rex, Cody, and a whole Clone Wars battle in live action. I don't see why you would not do that. That's a big missed opportunity in my opinion. So, yeah. Yeah, Maul Parent could be, yeah. I mean, if there's a rumor for it, you just never know where those are coming from. If they're a legit, one of the trade sources, or if they're just kind of a random, whatever, type of thing. But we shall see. I love Darth Maul, of course. He's top 3 favorite character of mine. So I definitely, seeing him is always cool. But for this show, it just wouldn't really make much sense. Same with a lot of other opinions on like Ezra turning to the dark side. I think that'd be kind of dumb because from Rebels, I remember they toyed with that and he kind of overcame that. So him turning to the dark side, I think, would be kind of dumb. I'm also not a big fan of the idea of Cal Kestis being that one Marok Inquisitor or whatever. I think that would be kind of silly too. I think he just needs to be a new character. I also don't think he should be Starkiller. I know there's some merit to that theory, but I just don't think they should waste Starkiller on an Inquisitor. I don't think that's really cool at all. The Inquisitors to me have always been just kind of meh. I've never really found them cool, mostly because I like after Order 66, it's just Darth Vader, Palpatine, and then you have a lot of Jedi on the run, but it's Darth Vader hunting them down, The Inquisitors I've just never really been a fan of. I've found them in Rebels, I thought they were kind of goofy at times, and in the Kenobi show they were certainly just not. I found them also kind of weird and goofy, and they just didn't really translate. So I don't know. I don't know. I hope they don't make that Marok guy Starkiller. I would be kind of disappointed with that. I think you have an opportunity to make a different, better story instead of just making him an Inquisitor to make people happy for a couple episodes. So if we don't get Ahsoka flashbacks, I'll be pissed. I'm craving live action with Anakin. Yep, I agree, man. I agree. Yep, good point, Owen Bricks. I did notice that. There is a Phase 1 clone in the intro. So yeah, when they flash all the helmets in front of the screen, there is a Phase 1 clone trooper helmet. So maybe that is, as Owen points out, a hint towards a flashback. We'll see. What we also will see is if they'll stay true to the character costumes. I've always had this, it's kind of a dumb thing to be annoyed about, but I've always had this thing where, like, I was afraid in the Kenobi show they would do a flashback and it would be Phase 2 clone troopers, but then Anakin and Obi-Wan would be in their, like, Clone Wars armor from season 1 and 2, or vice versa, where Anakin and Obi-Wan are not in their correct outfits, and then it's showing Phase 1 clone troopers. I know it's a really dumb thing, but I'm really a stickler on, like, if they do a flashback, I hope they do the correct costumes according to what season in Clone Wars they would be on. I know in Tales of the Jedi they changed Ahsoka's outfit a little bit, which I think was a pretty good choice for those particular episodes, so I'm sure her outfit will change. But for Anakin and Obi-Wan, if they're going to do Phase 1 clone troopers, I hope they do the correct outfits. Now, Season 3, there is wiggle room, because in Season 3, that's when they changed their outfits and they still had Phase 1 clone troopers. So that would work if it takes place in that time period. But if they like do a flashback to Phase 2 clone troopers and then they have Anakin and Obi-Wan in their Clone Wars armor, I know it's a dumb thing to be all upset about. I wouldn't be upset about it. It would just be like, I'd be like, it'd kind of annoy me a little bit. I know it's kind of dumb. That's also a whack theory. I'm pretty sure, I mean, Kanan's been blown up, so. I did like Kanan from Rebels. He probably was my favorite character from that show, so. Uh-oh, we got Lobot coming in for Marok. That would be something else, wouldn't it? Wonder how he's doing nowadays. Lobot. Hope he's doing good. Be kind of crazy to be Lobot, wouldn't it? Although maybe someday humans would be the same way. Honestly, yeah. I guess it's not that far-fetched to be able to have essentially the internet plugged into your head, which is kind of what Lobot had, but not really internet. I guess it was probably like comms, you know, data, communications, all that stuff. So not that far-fetched, I suppose. So yeah. All right. I think we will probably start to wrap it up here pretty soon. I've got to head out here in about half an hour or so, heading over to my some family members to kind of have a dinner for Labor Day, so that should be pretty fun. Hopefully you guys also have a good Labor Day if that's something you're celebrating here, and hopefully you just have a good rest of your day. Thought I'd do a quick live stream here just because I had some time to finally do a live stream. Surprise, surprise, no building got done, which is fine because I have a lot of fun just talking to you guys, but not good in terms of my updates that I need to record for the videos. I need to get some progress done on that side of things. So, oh, I see you for the Kanan thing. I gotcha. I mean, people have survived worse in Star Wars, right? Lobot's still on Cloud City. He probably is. He's just chilling on Cloud City, dude. He's a good lad. I hope Lobot's doing good. Hope he's doing good. So yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. One of these days we'll get some building done on this live stream, but probably not, and that's perfectly fine with me. If people have a problem with no building on live streams, then they can go do something to a Gundark. I don't know. Or a Minoc, you know, whatever floats your boat. I just enjoy watching the chat and interacting with you guys on stream. I think that's more fun than trying to build and talk to you guys at the same time. It's kind of difficult, but I'll try to get some more building hopefully later tonight done and start to record some of those updates so I can get that episode of Umbara out next week. And then I'm also working on that from start to finish. I guess it's on this side of the screen. I don't know, I'm backwards. Hopefully I'll get that finished up here pretty soon so we can do a new episode of that because I really love doing those episodes. So, all right, that's about it, guys. Hopefully everyone enjoys the Ahsoka episode tomorrow, even if you haven't been a fan of the show. I just want to see some more Baylan stuff, and I feel like Baylan versus Ahsoka is coming up, and maybe they'll talk a little bit about their past, which will be quite exciting. So, all right, that's about it, guys. And first off, shout out to Michigan Bricks and Scott Davis for the generous donations. Those will be going towards the build. Thank you guys so much, and you guys will get a shout out in the update videos whenever I order some parts. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And as always, leave your feedback in the comments section below. Hope you guys have a great day. And may the Force be with you always. Take care, guys. See ya.